Welcome to Good Morning Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5.
Good morning, Keys. It is Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the talk of the Keys, and also on Keys Living TV. This show will air at 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock each day from the morning into the afternoon hours. So I want to see you there as well. Digital Channel 27 and also Roku streaming and from your phone app, from the phone store, the app store, we'll call it that as well. It is Wednesday morning already. Look at that. Earth Day. Happy Earth Day to all. There's a big cleanup in the city of Key West. We'll talk about that in just a little while. But first, we're going to celebrate Earth Day by going out to Dr. Cindy Lewis, the director of the Keys Marine Laboratory. Hi, Dr. Lewis. How are you?
Good morning, Mike, and happy Earth Day to everybody. Certainly a day that we all enjoy. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So let's just do a quick overview of Keys Marine Laboratory because you certainly are very related to Earth Day, the earth and the oceans and the reef and all of that.
Yes, we are. So we are in the big city of Layton on Long Key, marker 68.5, and we're a marine field station that services education, research, and coral restoration throughout the state of Florida and actually throughout the country and internationally. We've been there for 35 years.
Yes, you have. And it is necessary to keep supporting all of the imperative research work and the like that goes on at Keys Marine Laboratory. We had a organization step up for a second time with a unsolicited donation, so we wanted to thank them for that.
Yes, we were delighted to have a surprise check from the Key Colony Beach Fishing and Boating Club. They made a donation to continue to support coral restoration at KML. So those funds can go to our coral restoration partners to help them out, supplies and whatever we need. And we were wonderfully grateful and very surprised to see a second check. Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. Dr. Cindy Lewis, she's director of Keys Marine Laboratory on Good Morning Keys. And also, in addition to money arriving, you actually had some VIPs and dignitaries arriving at Keys Marine Laboratory and visiting with you, one of whom being Corey Swizzo, a friend of ours here. He's the Director of Emergency Management for Monroe County.
Yes, so Corey and also his senior planner, Josh Baer, came to visit KML. First time that they'd ever had boots on the ground at KML. Obviously, with the impending hurricane season and everybody's thinking emergency management, we were showing him the facility with consideration for how Keys Marine Lab can help support Monroe County in an emergency situation with resources and that sort of thing. So Corey was very interested to see the facility, see what we had as far as potential temporary dorm space for first responders, first coming into the Keys after an event, but also area to lay down supplies and that sort of thing. So we're looking at developing a formal relationship, so that we can support the county in any way we can in an emergency event.
That would be a tremendous asset for the county for sure. Keys Marine Laboratory, speaking with Dr. Cindy Lewis. She's the director of Keys Marine Laboratory. I think you had mentioned Josh as a colleague of Corey Swizzo. You also mentioned another Josh Greer, who also was a visitor at your facility.
Yeah, Josh Greer is actually with the Yamaha Rightwater Sustainability Team. Yamaha is very interested in developing a sponsorship with different people. Now we've got vessels at KML that are all powered by Yamaha engines. So Josh was very interested, but the Rightwater Sustainability Team focuses on education and research, restoration, environmental conservation, invasive species, trying to hit all the different things that they do. And so KML, a relationship with KML really checked all those boxes for the Rightwater team, and they would like to work with us in the future as a sponsor.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, that's also good news. And we are continuing to work towards some significant upgrades to infrastructure and buildings at Keys Marine Lab.
Yes, and that may mean expanding our vessel fleet, and also going back to emergency management. Certainly the new building and the new dormitory would also be storm hardened to support any sort of emergency. So we're really trying to reach out and make those connections with people.
Okay. And Dr. Lewis, maybe name a few of the groups, aside from the dignitaries and individuals you had mentioned. Maybe give us an example of some of the groups who have been visiting as of late, doing their research there, whether it be tied to FIU or other institutions of higher learning or otherwise.
Yeah, so we are the southernmost campus, if you will, for the University of South Florida, as a Marine field station affiliated with USF. But many groups besides USF use us. We had a group in from the University of Florida. They spent a week as a marine ecology group. This is a returning group. They come kind of this time every year, bring a class. So we did have an opportunity to get them out on the water before the winds picked up. And the class had a wonderful time with us. So it was really good to have them. We have a shark group on site doing shark research, and they're from New College up in the Sarasota area. And so they're down actually for the month doing some shark research, toxicity studies. I don't know the details of their work yet. They're in the process of putting everything together, but they'll be with us for the full month. And we're also looking forward to the harmful algal bloom team from Florida Gulf Coast. They come down seasonally to sample for different algae, specifically the algae that produces ciguatera It's usually an indicator. They're looking for concentrations. So the concentration of algae is, the same, stable, less, more. It gives them an indication of what could be potential problems down the road. So they come down 4 times a year, but they've also been very involved with that sampling and additional sampling in regards to the spinning fish syndrome that we've been seeing for the last couple of years. So they've been partnering with all those people doing that.
All very important work in conjunction with FIO is what I meant to say, the consortium of 34 universities, institutions, and state agencies, including the State University System of Florida, USF, and others. So it gives, thank you for those examples of some of those groups just as of late who are visiting, doing very imperative research work right here in the Florida Keys at Keys Marine Lab. And it's Dr. Cindy Lewis with us, director of the Keys Marine Laboratory on Good Morning Keys. And one final question, if you don't mind, Dr. Lewis. When we have these types of winds, which are resulting in small craft advisories, one continuing on through the day today, and you have groups coming in from elsewhere, does it hamper their ability to accomplish what they looked to do while here?
Sometimes it does. Sometimes we have the ability to tuck them in, get them out on the water so they can explore the environment, and maybe in the leeward side of the islands, depending on the directions of the wind. In the case of our coral restoration partners, they're obviously not out on the water outplanting corals. So instead, they're on shore fragmenting corals and mounting them on pucks and getting them ready to take out to their nurseries. So they can spend good time efficiently using our seawater systems, but using our land-based facility to do that when they can't be on the water. So we've actually been pretty busy.
Good. Well, Dr. Lewis, anything else we should mention before we let you get back to a busy day?
I think that's about it. Looking forward to the next couple months. This is actually our really busy season. The classes are winding down. People are finishing their classroom work and everything, and they're coming to the Keys now to do their field work. So we've got a pretty busy schedule for the next couple months.
Very well. Well, we appreciate that busyness and all that you do to contribute to the betterment of our environment and our community as well. It is Dr. Cindy Lewis, director of Florida Keys, Keys Marine Laboratory, make that, in the Florida Keys. So thank you so much for being here, Dr. Lewis. You have a terrific day, and happy Earth Day.
Thank you, Mike, and happy Earth Day to you too. Take
Thank
care.
you. You do the same. Dr. Cindy Lewis with us, Keys Marine Lab on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the talk of the Keys. We return with more Good Morning Keys in a moment.
Good Morning Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5.
And good morning, Keys. Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the talk of the Keys. As far as traffic goes, we are getting reports of a significant backup on Stock Island. That is not unusual for this time of the day, but Stock Island and Cross Street does have a significant standstill right now, slow going through that. Of course, school buses are out and about, and school zones are in effect as well. Excuse me. And we are looking at some windy conditions. We do have the small craft advisory continuing through the day into the evening. About a 20-mile-per-hour wind, still the possibility out of the east and a high near 81. It will dissipate over the next couple of days, going down to 15 miles per hour and then 10 miles per hour on Friday with this very slight chance of rain. We are going to bring back in our next guest is Brian Barroso. He is the city manager for the city of Key West. Welcome back, Brian. Thanks for being here.
Good morning, Michael. Thank you for having me. Happy Earth Day to you.
Yes, sir. Happy Earth Day to you. City doing its part. We had talked to Mayor Henriquez on Monday. It looked like she was going to have to put her walking shoes on, having an extended cleanup session along North Roosevelt, which you referred to as kind of the mayor's route. Got a lot of people out there picking up and making our city look that much better.
Absolutely. Well, not just her. You know, we have some city teammates that are out there to help her.
Yes,
but
good.
What a great opportunity to show the community and our visitors that we take this extremely seriously down here. They're protecting our island, and what a great opportunity to build camaraderie and provide an opportunity to serve this community.
Yes. Well, Brian, thanks for that clarification. If it was just the mayor out on North Roosevelt, she would be there for a very long time. So glad to hear she's getting a lot of help. That is good.
Listen, Michael, she'll do it now. She'll do it.
I don't doubt it.
So that's why we got to send her help. So we send her some help.
She would do that. No doubt about it. Well, anyway, let's talk about, speaking of beauty, Higgs Beach. Everybody knows Higgs Beach in the city of Key West and enjoys spending time there. I'm not sure of anybody who hasn't spent some time at Higgs Beach. And the City Commission and Monroe County Borough of County Commissioners, they have approved the conveyance of Higgs Beach to the city. That will be enacted on May 1. The county will transfer grant funding and insurance money. That's nice of them to help that as well. It's been collected over several years for the property to the city during the transition. So let's talk about this transition and what it means for the city and some of the funding that will be available to get us kickstarted here.
Absolutely, Michael. Thank you for the opportunity. What a major win for our residents. Just the ability to have this local control, this local stewardship. Not that the county was not doing that, but just what an opportunity for our team to really embrace this jewel of the island that we have. So what we're really encouraged about and going to lean into as we stand in stage upcoming projects is just the financial transfer along with this property. So it wasn't just land. We got a financial commitment from the county, which was a great collaboration with our partners there. So we have these are approximate numbers, but about 987,000 are going to be transferred to the city from Hurricane Ian insurance proceeds. About 500 in capital funding. There's about 834 in TDC grant funding. Additional 568 from FDOT. 305 in TDC operating funds. And then we're still excited about, and this was a different partnership, but this is through our Hawk Missile Site agreement, but we're getting the $2 million for a multi-use field. So this truly gives the city the tools to immediately maintain, improve, and protect just this beloved community space. So our team's extremely excited. We are actively programming and placing our next processes. But what communities should understand and should actually ask more questions about so we could delineate exactly what we're doing. We're going to use these proceeds to do the project. So there was a concern, which is legitimate, about, man, where is this funding going to come from now that we have this asset? Well, we're just delineated exactly where it's coming from. So as you see projects occurring, know that they're they're in sequencing and correlating to the funding that we receive from our partners at the county. So we're very excited about this.
Well, and also, Brian, if I could add, it's my understanding there's also rental revenue coming in on an ongoing basis from Higgs Beach, a couple of commercial tenants there that will also help provide a revenue stream ongoing. Is that accurate?
That is an accurate statement. So what was disclosed, and again, not my narrative, but a narrative that I will continue to help project out there in the community, was over the last 5 years, the actual Higgs Beach operated in the black.
Mm-hmm.
So when you hear a statement that looks and feels like, oh my God, this is costing us taxpayer money, I want you to pause, source to source, and just understand that that is not the data that I received, nor is it the data that was presented by the county. So we're very excited about the operating mechanics of Higgs Beach. We believe that they've been doing a great job of operating in the black over the last 5 years, and we're looking to augment that, but continue to strengthen the existing partnerships. We don't want to come in as a new landlord and raise something or disrupt something that is in their normal operating business. So that's not our intention. Our intention is to strengthen those partnerships, but then look to where we could plug in and augment some revenue opportunities where we can as a city. And that's just what any new owner should be doing, that with a fresh set of eyes. What can we do, and how can we strengthen the existing relationships? So that's our plan. And we're very excited to get rolling on Higgs Beach and continue to strive and make it a jewel of Key West.
Yeah, well, it looks like now it was, I believe, the only remaining park within, held by the county that was not within county confines geographically. So now that has been remedied, and we're moving forward, and excited to see the next chapter for Higgs Beach for the betterment of the citizens. So thank you for that update. Again, Brian Barroso, he's city manager for the city of Key West, with us. And you and the mayor and everybody at City Hall pretty busy trying to coordinate all of our efforts with Tallahassee and strengthen those ties there. The budget session begins April 28th with Tallahassee hopefully going back to their special session and accomplishing that budget and seeing it to some finality. The city did secure preliminary legislative funding commitments for several priority projects. So I won't steal your thunder here, Brian. Maybe you can bring us up to date on that progress.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for that opportunity. So when an individual, what's really going on? Like, how is our team down here advocating for us up in Tallahassee and DC, by the way? But what I want you to feel is like we're advocating aggressively and candidly, effectively for our local priorities. We have our individual local priorities that we're fighting for. So I just want to make sure that we have an opportunity to outline exactly what is in the pipeline. Now, I want to preface this. It still needs to be approved. And as you said, there's some gap between the House and the Senate, but we believe that that's going to be rectified. We believe that that's just, saber rattling. And then, of course, we need to get through the veto opportunity, which is, it just speaks to relationships. You want to be viewed as an individual that continues to try to strengthen partnerships in both Tallahassee and DC, because you have that veto opportunity. So we're excited that we have approximately $11 million in priority projects funded, currently placed in the House and Senate. So I want to repeat that. We've advocated, have placed, and have been explained to us that it is funded right now, if approved, in the $11 million for local projects. So that's exciting for us.
That's a nice number. Yeah,
it is a nice number. Exactly, 11 million. So when they say, man, those people at City Hall, they're raising taxes, I want you to hear this. Hey, well, no, we're advocating for 11 million in funding that we would not have to come up with at local taxes. So, but that's in addition to $1 million that was already submitted by Representative Moody. So that particular $1 million was already placed in there. So we're very excited about what's up there. And then we really are keeping an eye on the expected changes for property taxes. We understand that there's some iterations that continue to occur, but our team, as we prep for our budget and our opportunity to make sure that we are being amazing stewards of the taxpayers' money, that we are definitely baking in that delta possibility of the property taxes or homestead taxes. For us, it represents approximately a $4 million delta if we see some iteration or change of that position regarding the elimination of property taxes. But right now, the city has additionally secured a $1.1 million from the FDEP. So we're really excited about, we have that designation of being a Florida Keys area of critical state concern. And that's part of that grant program. And that's for wastewater treatment facility upgrades. So we're constantly pouring into our wastewater treatment plant, looking to continue to fund that in a way that is indicative of the importance for the community down here. But in addition to that, at the federal level, the city also requested $3.8 million through the community project funding for Jose Martin Resiliency Project. So that right now represents about half of what the obligation would be for Key West on this much needed project, which is going to start at the latter part of this year. So you're going to see that project. It's an FDOT project. It's a partnership, but the responsibility or obligation to the city was around $7 million. So we've requested, it is it's been approved. Not approved. It has been projected into the budgeting process at the federal level. So we're really excited about, as we, the true success, Michael, is, are we getting this at the end of the day? That's the report card. So we're really excited about what we've done in preparation, but now it just boils down to, are we going to receive this funding? And that's going to be the true report card. But we're excited about where we're at. You first have to ask the questions before you can get the funding that we're looking for. But both at the federal level and at the state level, we believe the partnerships with our lobbyists are paying dividends. But let's pause and let's just make sure that we use the true funding to see how we effectively have done. But we're really excited about bringing this money home. It's a representation of what we're aggressively advocating for that will help continue to keep the debt obligation to our citizens at the lowest possible level.
Yeah. Brian Barroso, City Manager, City of Key West, on Good Morning Keys. And yes, part of that is dependent upon relationships, whether it be Representative Mooney and Senator Ana Maria Rodriguez advocating on our behalf, which it's my understanding they have been, but also, getting on a plane and braving the cold of Washington, D.C. to actually meet person to person with some people who have our fate in their hands. And it looks like those relationship building tours, whether it be Tallahassee or D.C., should pay some dividends.
That's the plan. We want to continue to be meeting with the right people in the right places, be in the right rooms with the right people at the right time, asking the right questions.
Yes.
We believe that we're doing that.
Yes. And did we mention too the TDC funding there? Because I know we ticked off a lot of different, not ticked off, but mentioned a lot of different funding sources, et cetera, but the TDC for Mallory Square too.
Absolutely. So, this is a great example of just that Mallory Square is moving from like vision to reality, Michael. So we're very excited that what we've continued to do is take that master plan that our great men and women here at the city had put together with the partnership with Sasaki. This was an amazing collaboration of what Mallory Square could look and feel like. But right now we're trying to bring that to reality. Okay, what can we do? So we're very excited, and this is outside of any normal process. We were able to go back and leverage some communication, some collaboration, and just advocate and stress the need from the TDC, who amazingly have found the opportunity to approve $4.6 million for Mallory Square. Now, this has to go to the BOCC in June, so we don't necessarily know that we have it, but we're definitely preparing like we are going to get it. So we're really feeling that this funding will support some of the major improvements at Mallory Square. Like, it's just ensuring resiliency, accessibility, and just enhancing that visitor experience. This is going to dovetail, if it is approved, with the beginning of the construction for the Sunset Pier. So that is slated to start late summer. And it's expected to be about a 10-month project. So we believe that it's going to be less than a year. So what we're really trying to do, because we understand that the partnerships that we have with CPS and just the importance of that location, we really need to balance it with how do we maintain that while doing these much needed improvements. So we're really getting granular with our partnerships and collaboration with our team to see how we could do that. But man, what a great experience to understand that if we can overlay the improvements from this $4.6 million grant with the construction of the Sunset Pier, what we truly believe is we're going to be a great position of bringing this much needed Mallory Square renovation forward for our community. So again, excited about the partnership with TDC. We want to thank them, but also now the responsibility is to put this in place. The previous, we had received previous funding from TDC for Mallory Square, roughly around $2 million that we just, for whatever the reason, and when I say we, I mean we, I was not here, but we
Yes.
could not bring that project forward. So we definitely, this particular leadership is very intentful on, if this is awarded by the BOCC, then we need to get rolling. So we have all intentions of looping in the master plan, elements of that master plan. So we're going to bring that vision to reality. So stay tuned, be excited, but know that there's a lot of projects that we are taking off the shelf and bringing forward for the betterment of this community and the visitors.
Yes, Brian Barroso is with us. He is city manager, City of Key West, and I will make mention that I think it was last month at the Chamber of Commerce meeting, General Luncheon, the mayor did give her State of the City presentation, and there were a lot of projects being discussed in that video that have come to completion or are on their way to being just that, and we're talking about even more. So there's a lot of activity at City Hall, and thank you for that. Also, I'll make a quick aside if I could. Speaking of Mallory Square and Sunset Pier, I had the pleasure of celebrating the anniversary of the Conch Republic and the Cocktail Party, and had spent a nice dinner with Commissioner Jim Scholl, but also with David Burke. And I mentioned his name because we did talk about the TDC. Congratulations to David Burke, who has been named the incoming Chief Administrative Officer for the Tourist Development Council. And that will continue to strengthen various relationships and compliance and the like with the TDC. So congratulations to Mr. Burke, another fine hire on their part as well. So, Brian, hurricane preparedness, we don't like to talk about it, but we need to. Complacency is not our friend. So you actually plan, when we say we, once again, plan a year-round, readiness for emergency response. And we need to start talking about that with the community to make sure that complacency does not creep in. What is it that the emergency management team with the city is doing to make sure that we are fully ready for any eventuality?
Yeah, thank you, Michael. So, obviously awareness and preparation are key, but, the illusion is preparation it's not seasonal.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is we intently work year round regarding our ability to stand up and provide the best opportunity to respond to any sort of impact to our community. But in this particular case, what the city plans to do is we're going to run a full-scale mock-up hurricane drill. This is going to test our readiness. So we bring in a company that comes down and gives us a particular scenario, and then we go through an entire process in which how we would go through the 4 elements or the stages of any type of impact to the community. So we're very excited right now. It helps us get aligned with our teammates, like what teammates are going to be designated as ones that would stay. And how in the manner in which they would respond. It allows us to ensure our partnerships with our individual location, which is City Hall, as our emergency management location. It activates and prepares our technology. There's some alerts that go out. It talks about our ability to communicate with other partners, but everyone right now should be checking in preparing for hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
It is something that allows you to, is your insurance in place? Is your evacuation plan in place? How are you planning to stay informed? It's a shared responsibility. Understand that it's not just the responsibility of the city to prepare, but it's also the residents and the visitors alike. So this allows us, in our opinion, to really understand where we see our strengths, where are some opportunities, and not have to vet that during an actual impact. So we are in conjunction with our emergency manager, Greg Barroso from the fire department, and he is leading this exercise. So we're very encouraged about starting this. But again, when you are a layman, understand that this is something that we train, we educate, and we evaluate year round, so we could we can respond and support our community in the best way possible.
Yeah.
So that is upcoming.
Good, good. Absolutely. Well, preparedness is the key. And then emergency management implementation of those plans is imperative. And also communication with county emergency management and federal partners and the like needs to be seamless if we ever have to put those hurricane plans into effect. So thank you for the diligence on the part of Greg and the rest of the city preparing for what we hope will not be coming anytime soon. So Brian, Realtors Roundtable, we hear about the real estate market in the Keys. It tends to fluctuate, but it is a big part of our economic system. And the city did collaborate with the Key West Association of Realtors in a roundtable session. It's my understanding it was held at City Hall recently. So tell us about that.
Yeah, we truly feel and embracing that this is how government should work. It should be transparent. It should be accessible, and actually it should be responsive. So, and we also lean into open dialogue builds trust, and it leads to just better outcomes. So in that spirit we did a collaboration with our business community, which was the QAR. We believe that it's essential for just a healthy and informed city. So the city and the Key West Association of Realtors held a well-attended roundtable at City Hall. I mean, it was packed. The city staff, they answered in-depth questions regarding planning, licensing, permitting, city code, and just the development process. So it really allowed, whether it was an individual example or just a granular or broad brush approach about clarity, it allowed for that open dialogue between individual realtors and our team. Plus, it allows you to meet our team. That's another thing that we're really trying to stress through our spotlights, through our social media mediums, and just our ability to continue to disseminate information and cascade information out there. We really believe that the powerful aha or connection is just come and meet our team and see their passion and desire to be in the service of others. So the session gave us a great chance to address concerns directly, clarify misconceptions. So that's a real responsibility of our team. It's just, hey, you may not be well informed, and at times you may be misinformed. So let's just try to clarify that. And then it just strengthens the partnerships with the real estate community, which is essential down here. So we really want to say thank you to our partners at QAR. It actually was their recommendation and their request. So I want to tip my hat and ode to their ability to put their hand up. And we want to encourage other entities that if you believe that would add value, we want to continue and provide a cadence for this. We think it's a great opportunity to host individuals here, meet our team, answer questions, and just give them access to our team. So despite what you may be hearing out there, I believe that we have a very accessible team, and you're able to come in here and ask questions. And I always say, I preface this, if your intent is to seek to understand, then we're all open to it. If it's to attack, I would say caution, please. That's not the medium in which we would like to do that. But we understand that we are in the service of others, and we serve this community. And part of that service requires access and our ability to answer questions and concerns. But the city intends to continue hosting similar forums to keep the communication open and productive. That's the key. Is the communication open? Is it productive? Are we moving things forward? And are we clearing up maybe some discomfort and distrust from past experiences? That's the goal, and we want to continue to provide that opportunity. So please put your hand up if you would like that opportunity. And I just want to give a moment to say that there is every other Tuesday, there's Coffee with the CM available to anyone that would like an opportunity to come in and do this exact process. And then the mayor still hosts her Monday Connects with a standing placeholder for those individuals in the community that like access to the mayor. So we're providing these opportunities. We want to leverage these opportunities, and we believe that we're changing hearts and minds, which is what we need to do as we continue to build better forward together.
Yes. Well, and also the city website, City of Key West FL-FL.gov, make that, has a lot of resources and all the information on how people can collaborate and participate in the government process. And as Brian just said, there's also the opportunities on an ongoing basis to have one-on-one discussions with the city manager and the mayor as well. So do take advantage of that if you don't participate, you don't have the right to complain either, it would seem. So, anyway, let's talk about, Brian, if we could, some of the accomplishments of City Hall employees themselves. And actually, there was a gathering whereby city administrators were able to recognize city employees at large. The picnic at the amphitheater last Friday, about 250 people there. So let's talk about how that event went.
Oh, wow. Well, it's easy to talk about things that are, celebratory. So
Yes.
I can't say I take full credit for it because it was something that was recurring from previous years, but this was our annual employee picnic. It was a great opportunity for us just to pause and say thank you to the great men and women that continue to serve this community. So we batted around exactly how to do that and the manner in which, but it continues to land on an actual picnic. So we provided that for our team and teammates, family members to come and join. So yes, we believe it was an amazing event. There was over 250 employees and family members. But I want to extend just a thank you to the individuals. There was some special recognition we did internally, but this is a global recognition that helped stand this amazing event up. So we did that through our internal communication. But again, you can't put on an event like that to say thank you to others without the great help from our team to make it happen. So, but I would tell you that I attended, the mayor attended, we had the Vice Mayor Lee there and Commissioner Velez attended. I understand that, that it's great to see from our teammates' perspective and family members that our leadership is there supporting our team. So it was just a great event. And then, the weather worked out. It was, we had a great breeze there. It was at our Truman waterfront property. So that was also another opportunity for us to leverage that amazing facility. And we just was very proud from the leadership perspective to provide an opportunity to say thank you to our team.
Yeah, and team building was also accomplished when you take time to recognize the team at large. So we were speaking of Earth Day and the mayor out and about actually picking up debris and trash today, while the mayor's beautification committee continuing to do very positive things in the community, securing a private donation of funding planting of new trees on Duval Street.
Wow. Yes, Michael, another great opportunity where we have some amazing resident come forward. Part of the beautification process and in communication with the mayor was this particular individual, which, I'll let that individual disclose who he is, but came forward and said, look, I want to try to give back to this community. And in particular, another project that we continue to have a master plan in place. So we have the blueprint. It's just now can we, foster and fund and finish this project, which is the responsibility of our team. So as you see in the community, are we starting anything? Just know that yes, we are starting some things. We started Bayview. We're going to start Higgs. You're going to see FDOT start the Jose Martin. And next year, we're going to lean into our Flagler project, but in conjunction with the Mallory Square project renovation, we now have our Duval Street revitalization. So this is part of that master plan, but it really dovetails into the mayor's beautification program. This particular individual has donated, and that number continues to rise. So we appreciate his ability to say, yes, I could do more and give more. But our plan now is to purchase trees that right now are going to be identified in locations that are missing, potters that are missing, or they're trees that are either in disarray or at the latter part of that tree's life. So in conjunction with our arborists, we have identified locations in which this individual will be purchasing trees down Duval Street. So we believe that this is going to be our first indication of us starting that renovation or that revitalization of Duval Street. And then we are actively programming and looking at applying for a EDA grant that you will see. We're standing up our ability to change out our lights down Duval Street as well. So those are the two projects that we are planning right now. Now the ambassadors leaned in at the 44 graduation. They leaned in with their project, which was going to be painting the trash cans on Duval Street. So we are really excited about starting that process. Know that we also have a grant in place. Part of that funding that we talked about from Tallahassee was the opportunity to fund a lift station down at Mallory Square to help for the flooding of Duval Street. So please know that we are definitely trying our best to go citywide on where we could continue to bring projects forward and what we can put in place. But great opportunity for this individual to be recognized in the manner in which he chooses to, but great contribution from that individual in collaboration with the mayor. So excited about that. And the trees have been ordered, so they're coming.
Excellent.
So we're excited about that.
Indeed. Brian Barroso, City Manager, City of Key West. And you've been most generous of your time, Brian. I don't want to overstay my welcome either. Let's again recognize Earth Day. The mayor out and about doing her personal part to clean up the island. We encourage all to head over to Bayview Park. I believe there's a pickup going on and people can contribute to that today.
Yes, they can.
Excellent. Excellent. Bayview Park is where that culminates. So please head over there and do your part to pick up our environment. And Key West Fire Department continuing to serve and protect, and new firefighters have come to the family as well. Matt Schilling and Patrick Spencer.
Yes, we're really excited. Some homegrown there. That's always something that, being a conch, it comes with a lot. Now there's some with that moniker, there's a lot of noise behind that, but the pride in which we have individuals that come and choose Key West. And we want to echo some sentiments, whether they were born here, whether they grew here or flew here.
Yes.
The minute that you're here, you're a conch. So we say it with great pride and welcome these great, additions to our team. We're constantly trying to recruit and retain and source and select individuals that we believe can add value. But we're really excited about the additions to the fire department and in the recent promotions. We're really excited about the individual and the movements that are going on at the fire department. What a great time to be looking for an opportunity with Key West. So look, if you're out there and you're not saying, man, what can I do next or what should I do next? Please look at the city to come. We welcome you. We need talent. We need advocation. We need individuals that are in the spirit of the service of others. Mm-hmm. And there's no more reflection of that to be from the great men and women at the fire department and in our police department. Yes. They're in the service of our community. So we're excited about our team growing.
Yes, sir.
The morale is high, here at the city. We're doing great things. We're excited about our future, and we continue to see individuals choosing the city of Key West to come and work for.
Well, you're certainly conveying a lot of positivity, as does the mayor. We appreciate that very much, and all of the hard work that's being done on our behalf at City Hall. Is there anything else we should mention for the common good before we let you go, Brian?
Just a huge thank you to you, Michael. Thank you for the opportunity. That it's through these venues that we have an opportunity to say our story. Not often do we have that opportunity. It's usually we have to pause in our ability to respond to certain information, but this allows us to communicate a unified message. And I want to just tell you that I appreciate that opportunity. There's some great things happening. There's some great things planning to be happening, and we want to continue to move forward. That's the key. Let's stop with the divisiveness and really, let's get together and decide and communicate how and best to move forward for our community. And these venues allow us an opportunity to say our messaging, and I really appreciate that.
Well, Brian, and thank you for taking the time to visit with us. And it's I've always taken the responsibility of public media very seriously, which is to provide accurate information, and we go right to the source whenever possible. So thank you for providing that clarity and transparency, and we will see you very soon, sir.
Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful day.
You do the same. Thank you. Brian Barroso, he's City Manager, City of Key West. Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. We are back in a moment.
This is Good Morning Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5.
Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. We are having some slowdowns with traffic in Key West, Stock Island, and I believe we had another notice we had received not long ago. We'll get some updates if those continue to be the case. But we're going to get right to Rhonda Haig. She's the Chief Resilience Officer for Monroe County. And good morning to you. Great to see you again, Rhonda.
Yes, good morning. Great to see you too.
Thank you, and thanks for being here. As mentioned, this show does air again on Keys Living TV, local TV station, channel 27, and also on Roku streaming and on your phone app, free from the phone app store. 1 o'clock. I'm sorry, make that 11 o'clock. 5 o'clock daily. So we'll get to see Rhonda again. So let's talk about some resiliency and sustainability projects that are now going on. They have gotten off the starting blocks. So let's
Yeah,
bring some people up to date on where we are.
that's part of the projects when we're under active construction. And let me tell you, they're going to town. So we have two breakwaters under construction, actually. Duck Key breakwater repair, that's also a living shoreline. That's a $2.5 million grant funded project. They're rebuilding almost the entire breakwater up there at Duck Key. And since we're on such a tight time frame, they literally have about till the end of June, and the grants cuts off because these are limited time availability funds. So they're out there working 7 days a week to rebuild that breakwater. So I have to give them a hand. That's LPS Construction out of Marathon doing that work, and that's also part of that is going to be a living shoreline. So it's not just a hardened shoreline. There are also going to be some planned in the event of a hurricane, and hopefully we won't ever be rebuilding that again. But we did find out an interesting fact. We found some bids from 25 years ago when that breakwater was rebuilt. Those bids back then were $2.5 million. And here we are 25 years later building that same breakwater for the same amount of money. It's unbelievable. So big shout out to LPS. And if people want to see something active, they can even go on the weekend out there and take a look at it. It's very interesting work to be seen.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
Ducky. Yeah.
Wow. So apparently, then we do lose the funding if the project is
Yep.
not only started but even finished on time.
Yep, it has to be done June 30th. We have to have the engineer plans done, the construction done, and my report has to be in. And so that's why they're out there working 7 days a week. And we're
So
very thankful for that.
you have no stress whatsoever.
Yeah, none whatsoever. It's the vendors, though. I put all the thanks on them. They're just doing a bang out job.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
then Long Keys, just up the road, just a tiny bit at the Long Key transfer station. We're not building a breakwater, but we're building a living shoreline. But part of that is these really cool, and I don't have them with me. I should have, next time I promise I'll bring them. They're
Okay.
building what's called wave attenuation devices. They look like mini spaceships. They're shaped like this, a triangle with holes in the middle. And there's going to be 480 of them out there. And so they're out there working 7 days a week also. Topinos is supplying the concrete out there for them. Sea and Shoreline is the vendor building the project. But they're out there going like heck too to build these living shoreline. And I could really see this living shoreline, especially when you see them, because they're concrete and they got holes in them. So when the hurricane storm surge hits against that thing, against the concrete structures, it breaks the waves, but it doesn't, it's not like sandbags where plantings aren't able to live there. So hopefully this will be really popular, and I could see this being built up and down the shorelines of the Keys. So we can not only have wave attenuation stoppage, but also still contain the native planting. So really cool work there. So take a look out there too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
certainly some pretty major resilience,
Yep.
projects that are underway right now. Very exciting. You've done
Yeah.
so much hard work and preparation to get it to this point, whether it's securing the funding or the preparation and planning, and now the execution to see the project to completion. So congratulations. That's got to be a terrific feeling.
Thank you. And there's one more. Rock Harbor Breakwater is also under repair. Now, that's not a living shoreline. That's really just a repair of the breakwater, but that's $1 million grant funded project also in the Rock Harbor neighborhood in Key Largo, of course, in the ocean. And then we have some active community outreach for $200 million worth of grant funded road elevation projects. So last evening, we met with the Winston Waterways folks, some of them. So when we build these higher roads, we're looking at building them about 2.25 feet higher than what they are now. So when you build the roads higher, you have to build them a little bit wider also, because you can't have these drop offs. And so when we're building them wider in some of these neighborhoods, we need to use a bit of the private property, the front yards, just like 5 or 10 feet, to either put in a swale or one of those structures like a grate where the water goes in. It's called an inlet structure, but really it's like a metal grate that you put on top, and then you build a culverts underneath to collect and gather the water and take it away from the roads. And so we're meeting with the Big Coppet folks tonight for those whom we need an easement from. And so what we do is county requires an easement from those properties where we need to either put a swale or these concrete grates. And people will still be able to use the property, but we need to be able to, use them. So about 10% of the properties in both of those neighborhoods, Winston and Big Coppet, that we're going to meet with tonight. We need easements from them to put the swales and the inlet structures. And so when we're talking about, I know we heard a lot last night from the folks. They say, well, our roads aren't all flooding, it's only some of the roads and it's only for a little period of time. But what we want people to understand is, the reason we jumped out in front of the whole rest of the state is to be able to get these grant level of funds. It means $200 million is a massive amount of grant funds that we have sitting available, ready to use for these projects. But we're going to, meeting with the community. We're going to be having more community meetings with the Big Coppet neighborhood, also with all of them, not just the folks that we need the easements from, to talk about, because the roads are going to continue to get more and more flooded every year. As the sea levels continue to rise, the groundwater rises also. Then when you get that rainwater on the road or the tidal floods are going to continue to rise. And so there's going to be more and more problems with drainage every year as the time goes by. So we know people don't like easements. There will be an assessment for these projects, to fund the operations and maintenance. And nobody likes assessments, and I completely understand that. We're trying to make them as minimal as possible so that make them affordable, and we'll be talking about that with both communities again. But these are going to protect the home values for the next 30 years, because these projects are building for the next 30 years, and so they won't be flooded or have flooding on the roads. And that's going to protect their home values and make it easy for them to get to their homes any time of the year. And so that's what these projects are all about.
So, Rhonda, that is the case whereby the community has to approve participation.
Yep, they do have to approve.
Yeah. So they have somewhat of a buy-in, but
Yep.
the $200 million, just to clarify, has that been secured, or is that
Yes.
It has been.
It's
So,
in the bank.
Yeah.
So what has to happen is we meet with the neighborhoods, like we're meeting again tonight. We're going to have formal votes with these neighborhoods. We'll be sending out letters and having meetings, and they're going to get a chance to formally conduct a vote, whether they want it or not. But these grant funds are on reserve. And so once we get to the point where the state funding agencies, I have to back up for a minute, FEMA has to conduct what's known as a cost benefit analysis. And we're going to be submitting the plans here the end of May, so very short, coming up. And what they're going to do then is they conduct what's called a cost benefit analysis. So they look at all the benefits that these neighborhoods get in terms of resilience and things like that. And then they look at the cost and they say, okay, is the cost benefit, I don't know what their ratio is, but it takes them a long time. It can take anywhere from 2 to 6 months, maybe even more, because these are really big projects. And so they come back to us and they say, if we pass that hurdle, okay, neighborhoods, you've passed it, then we can put it out for bids, and then we'll know exactly how much it costs. We hope we have it 100% grant funded. We won't know until we put the actual bids out. And then we come back to the neighborhoods and say, okay, we've got the go ahead to spend this money. And now it's your turn to vote on whether you want it. And if they vote yes, we move forward with the projects, set up an assessment, and fund operations and maintenance. If they vote no, any of these neighborhoods, we have to give back those grant funds. Unfortunately, we're not able to hang on to them. It's a very limited time frame, because if we don't use it, other communities will. I know there's already communities that heard about this. They're waiting to see what we're going to do, but these grant funds go back to FEMA and the state if we don't use them.
I was just going to ask if it's a use it or lose it situation, and indeed it is. So people need to understand the urgency. So where will people be able to find out the times and dates of any other upcoming community?
We post everything on our county calendar. You can just go right to the county calendar, search for Big Coppet or Winston. Don't forget Flagler's down there. We're not having any meetings on Flagler yet. That's a little bit different situation where we're working with the city, but we have $54 million for Flagler Avenue. But just go to the county website, type in Big Coppet or Winston, and we post the meeting notices there. And we'll be sending out letters also to the community residents who are in the actual area for our next meeting, so we can make sure everybody's aware of them.
Okay.
So very exciting.
It is very exciting, but again, we have deadlines that we must be cognizant of, or again, we lose this very big opportunity. And we don't want that to happen, indeed. So again, Rhonda Hague with us from Monroe County, Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. So it sounds like the focus then, Rhonda, continues to be road elevation. And if we do not act, we could have some significant problems, maybe not immediately, but next few generations will be having to face this.
Yeah, just over the last 10 years, I've seen just massive amounts of additional water on the road, in all over the place, Key Largo all the way down to Key West. So just that tidal flooding, it creeps in every year, but it's not by fractions of inches, it's inches and inches. And when you have to start driving through just, 6 or 8 or 10 inches of water for a month or 2 or 3 at a time, that gets very frustrating. It ruins your automobiles. I mean, we don't want to see that. So if we do these projects, you're not going to see that. You're not going to see that on any of these community roads. And so we're hoping that people take advantage of the opportunity. Like I said, I know nobody likes assessments, but it will protect your home value. It's going to protect your car. You're going to be able to drive whenever you want to get to your home. And that's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Well, you and your staff in the county have done more than your part to provide the funding, to provide the plans, and get the word out as far as the necessity of addressing this issue. And we thank you very much for that. Now it's up to the community to respond and to participate in some form or fashion. And again, get yourself informed, be aware of the community meetings upcoming, and then that's your opportunity to have a voice, but also to be fully informed. So indeed. Rhonda, that's a great update on active projects moving forward. Congratulations there. I can sense the joy coming from you to see all of your hard work starting to come to fruition again as of late. Is there anything else, though, that we should mention at this time?
I think we've got it all. This is so exciting, but thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being here, taking the time to inform the community as to some very important issues that are affecting us all. And we will continue to look forward to further visits with you, Rhonda. Thank you.
I look forward to it too.
And love the background. Very tranquil.
Thank you. Thanks to the Tourist Development Council.
Thank you. Yes, thanks to them as well.
Yeah.
Rhonda, have a wonderful week. We'll talk to you
All
soon.
right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Rhonda Haig, she's with us. She's the Chief Resilience Officer for, it's for Monroe County. Make that Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. We'll be checking your forecast here in just a few moments, and then we'll be checking in with Glenn Beck, all on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. Always have breaking news as soon as it happens, and there are a lot of changes going on that you need to stay informed and on top of, whether it's internationally, nationally, or locally. We'll help you do that on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. Thank you so much for listening.